Hello, dear learners. I hope you all would be doing great. As you know, we have started chapter 1 from the book Movements, The Lost Child, and in our previous lecture, we studied that a child went to a village fair along with his parents, and there he got fascinated and attracted by a lot of things. And his heart got an ardent desire to buy few things for himself. But he did not have the courage to express his desires or to put his demand in front of his parents because he knew that they are not going to pay any heed towards his request. The child could not suppress or curb his desires. When he was passing by a toy shop, he expressed his desire in a slow manner in front of his parents that I want that toy. But he received a tyrant look from his father, who is supposed to be a very aggressive personality. He gave him a very rough look and a rigid look with his red eye. And his mother, who was a very kind and soft-hearted lady, she tried to divert his attention to somewhere else. And the next sight was a flowering mustard field, which was covered with mustard flowers, and it appeared that somebody has covered acres and acres of land with melted gold. After then they moved to the group of, after then there was a group of dragonflies along with a long black bee and a butterfly. He tried to catch one of them, and the next sight which caught his attention was the little insects and worms which were coming out of their hiding place in order to enjoy the sunshine. And finally they reached a grove, and he started collecting the petals of the flowers which were falling from the trees in his hands. And when he heard the cawing of the doe, he forgot about those petals and they all fell from his hand. Up to now we have covered in our previous lecture. Let's resume our today's lecture. He ran quickly again, this time to a shrine to which people seemed to be crowding. Every little inch of space here was congested with men, and he ran through people's leg, his little sob lingering mother and father. So the child ran towards a shrine. Shrine is a religious place where there was a big crowd and everyone was struggling for even little inch of space because it was too congested, it was overcrowded, and he had to make his space by running through the people's legs. He kept on sobbing. He was lingering here and there, calling his mother and father. Near the entrance of the temple, however, the crowd became very thick. Men jostled each other, heavy men with flushing, murderous eyes and hefty shoulders. Because it was a religious place, it was expected to be overcrowded. And near the entrance, so it was the crowd became very thick. The people started pushing each other. They were pushing each other, heavy men. They were flushing with their murderous eyes and hefty shoulders. The poor child struggled to thrust a way between their feet, but knocked to and fro by their brutal movements, he might have been trampled underfoot had he not shrieked at the highest pitch of his voice, "Mother, Father." You know, you may have visited such kind of the places where it is a big crowd and people don't bother about others instead of their, what you can say, blind religious faiths. So they just pushed each other. There are violent outbursts. Nobody bothers whether they are hurting others or not. The child was about to be crushed by someone's feet, or they were pushing the child with their brutal movements. He was crying loudly. Somebody would have crushed him in that big crowd if he had not shrieked or cried at the highest pitch of his voice. That's why he could make a space for himself even among the crowd. A man in the surging crowd heard his cry. The crowd was increasing. It was getting greater and greater. And there was a man who heard that little boy's cry. Stooping with great difficulty, he bent with great difficulty, lifted him up in his arm. "How did you get here, child? Whose baby are you?" the man asked as he stayed clear of the mass. The child wept more bitterly than ever now and only cried, "I want my mother I want my father. The man, the kind man, he took the child and he asked him whose baby he was, and he cleared the crowd for him. The child, when he found a soft person, when he found some sympathetic words, some kind words, he started even crying louder, and he kept on saying, I want my mother, I want my father. The man tried to soothe him by taking him to the roundabout. Now the child was not stopped crying, rather he was crying louder and louder. He tried to divert his attention and he took him towards the roundabout. Will you have a ride on the horse? He gently asked as he approached the ring. When they reached near the ring, he offered him that, would you like to have a ride on this horse or on this ring? The child's throat tore into thousand shrill sobs. He only shouted, I want my mother, I want my father. He had no interest in the roundabout, or he did not want to enjoy the ride on the roundabout. That was nothing there in his mind at all. He just want his parents back. If you carefully observe the picture, you can see what kind of the various sights which we have discussed in the chapter. The show by a snake charmer is there, a balloon seller is there, a roundabout is there, a motley of people is there, and the small child whose yellow turban is untied. He's crying bitterly, and a kind man is there who bent to pick the child in his arms in order to console him, or in order to make him stop crying. The man headed towards the place where the snake charmer still played on the flute, on to the swaying cobra. Listen to that nice music, child, he pleaded. Now in order to make the child calm, in order to pacify the child, he took him to the snake charmer and he told him that, see, listen to this nice piece of music, how beautifully uncle is playing the music. See that snake. He tried to divert his attention, but the child shut his ears with his fingers and shouted with double-pitched strain, I want my mother, I want my father. The child was least interested to listen or to watch anything else. He just wanted his parents back. That's why he kept on saying, I want my mother, I want my father. The man took him near the balloons, thinking that the bright colors of the balloons would distract the child's attention and quieten him. Would you like a rainbow-colored balloon? He persuasively asked. A snake charmer stood playing a flute to a snake which coiled itself in a basket, its head raised in a graceful bend like the neck of a swan, while the music stole into its invisible ears like the gentling rippling of an invisible waterfall. So what was the next center of attraction in the fair was the show played by a snake charmer who was playing his flute, and by listening the sound of the music of the flute, there was a snake which was kept or coiled itself in a basket. It started raising its head in a graceful manner. It raised its neck in a graceful manner out of that basket like the neck of a swan. And why do the snakes react? Because they react on the sounds of flute. So as the music stole into its invisible ears like the gentle rippling of an invisible waterfall. Here the sound of flute is compared to a magical effect of gentle rippling of when the water falls, and the sound of that waterfall creates the ripples in the water, and the sound of waterfall appears, or what you can say, assumes so beautiful. You may have heard that if you have visited any waterfall site. The child went towards the snake charmer, but knowing his parents had forbidden him to hear such coarse music as the snake charmer played, he proceeded further. Now the child wanted to watch that show, he wanted to hear that music, but he knew that his parents would not allow him, because they would say that it's a very rough music or a coarse music. So without waiting or without saying anything to his parents, he proceeded further. There was a roundabout in full swing. Men, women, and children, carried away in the whirling motion, shrieked and cried with dizzy laughter. The child watched them intently, and then he made a bold request. I want to go on the roundabout, please, father and mother. The next, which you may usually see in the fair, the most important or the center of attraction of the fair is that roundabout, that giant wheel. And some people enjoy that ride, and some people feel it's very scary. Those who have got the fear of height. The fear of height is known as acrophobia. Acrophobia. So those who are having the acrophobia, they don't try. They don't even dare to try for such swings. But some people are adventurous. They are full of fun. So they love to take ride on such swings. So there was a roundabout, and there were men, women, and children. They were in a whirling, means circular motion. And those who are scared, they were shrieked. They were crying. They were crying with the dizzy laughter. Some were enjoying. So it's a mix and merge emotion or the reaction. The child watched them intently. Intently means attentively, very closely. And then up to now he was putting or suppressing his desire, or he was speaking in just slow murmur. But this time he showed the dare to express himself in a bold manner. I want to go on the roundabout, please, father and mother. And he made another request, the third request, in a clear manner. First was the toy, second was the I want that burfi, and third one was I want to go on to the roundabout, please, father and mother. There was no reply. He turned to look at his parents. They were not there. Ahead of him, he turned to look on either side. They were not there. He looked behind. There was no sign of them. When he did not get in any reply from his parents, he turned back. But he was astonished or flabbergasted to see that his parents were not there. Then he turned on the either of the side. Again got disappointed. They were not there. He looked behind. There was no sign of them. A full deep cry rose within his dry throat, and with a sudden jerk of his body he ran from where he stood, crying in real fear, mother and father. And the child was frightened. He was terribly scared. And then a full deep cry which came from his dry throat, and with a sudden jerk of his body, he suddenly gave a jerk or push to his body and started running from the place where he was standing, and crying loudly in fear, in real fear, and calling his mother and father. Tears rolled down from his eyes, hot and fierce. His flushed face was convulsed with fear, and there were tears which were coming down flowing from his both the eyes through his cheek. They were very hot and fierce, and his face was flushed with convulsed. Convulse means to make or cause shake violently. When you are shaking violently, and it happens when you are under a tremendous mental trauma. And he was shivering with fear. Panic stricken, he ran to one side, first side, and then to the other, hither and thither in all direction, here and there in various direction. He was moving to one side and then to other in order to find his parents. Knowing not where to go, because the place was unknown to him. He did not know where he had lost his parents, so he was just running here and there and crying mother and father. He wailed. Wailed means cried. His yellow turban came untied, his clothes became muddy, and the yellow turban which he was putting on over his head, it opened, it untied, and his clothes became muddy. Having run to and fro in a rage of running for a while, he stood defeated, his cries pressed into sobs. He was continuously crying for a certain time. After then your body gets exhausted. You cannot cry with an violent outburst for a longer period of time. Then it moved on to, or it switched to the sobbing. Sobbing means when you just cry, the tears are coming, but no sound is coming from your mouth. Where I have, At little distances on green grasses he could see through his filmy eyes men and women talking. He tried to look intently among the patches of the bright yellow cloths, but there was no sign of his father and mother among these people who seemed to laugh and talk just for the sake of laughing and talking. He tried to identify the color of the clothes or the attires which his parents were wearing. He tried to identify specifically about that shade in the crowd, but there was no sign of his parents. People were laughing and talking because they were having a happening time. They were enjoying the fair. Nobody bothers what is happening to someone. If someone is facing any problem, that is his or her problem. So I think this is the end of today's lecture. The rest part of the reading we will be covering in next video. Stay tuned for the part 3, which is going to be the last.